Oh, hello. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Um, oh, my mic is a lot farther. Hopefully this is fine. But, hello. Today, we are going to be watching, some videos. Just reacting to stuff. Because Puppet History comes out today, but I just looked at the channel and it's not out yet. So I don't know what time it comes out. But Puppet History is supposed to come out. So today we're just gonna watch the last Mystery Files. Um, and then hopefully Puppet History comes out. But yes, we're going to be watching this today. I'm gonna be doing my nails while I do this. Watch this
Is
as
every
well.
waking thought just that little man getting spanked on the buttocks?
That's right.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out who
That's
this
a strong
little weirdo
intro.
is. Welcome to the season finale of Mystery Files, where we take a deep dive.
Are we
into
gonna need
cases that
Bob
span
this
from the
episode?
creepy to the truly bizarre and everything in between. I'm Shane, and today I'll be forcing my colleague Ryan to hear all about the unnerving Max Headroom incident.
Are we gonna need Bob?
You'll have to decide if the mystery is solved or if it's simply a mystery.
We might need Bob this episode, guys. Okay. But yes, we're gonna watch this one. I remember seeing this incident in like a compilation video of like mystery things that happened. And I don't remember much about it. All I know is like this TV news station got like hijacked or something. And that's all I know. Yeah.
We're back.
You are back. You look very studious.
I guess so. Well, I wanted to, channel cable jacker vibes.
Oh, I see. I guess like if you were like crawling around like the upper crawl space.
I've got, little satellites, dishes.
Those are like library glasses in like a blue collar setting.
I sort of feel like Emilio Estevez in the first scene of Mission Impossible. We're
I've
talking
never
about
seen
Max
Mission
Headroom.
Impossible.
Do you know this man?
I know he was a man.
He's a character, though. Do you know that?
Like a fictional character?
He is not a real guy.
Oh, something happened to him?
Maybe. Now, before we get into it, a word from our sponsor.
Hey, little fella, what you doing?
It's at no cost.
No sponsor right now.
1987, pre-Bean Chicago, 9:13 p.m. Overcast. A northeasterly breeze moving at 23 miles per hour, but unseasonably warm at a sweltering 48.9 degrees. The people of the Windy
Should I
City
take
and its
notes?
beautiful surrounding suburbs like Schaumburg, Hanover Park, Hoffman Estates, and yes, even Elk Grove. We're getting an update on a Bears victory over the Detroit Lions from popular local sportscaster Dan Roan on Channel 9's 9 o'clock news. Now at 9:14 p.m., that all changed.
Oh.
TVs tuned into the channel flickered, and around the city, screens went black. In the control room of WGN TV, technicians were in shock. They were being hijacked.
Well, how old were you when this happened?
1 year old, maybe less.
So you possibly could have been in front of the tube.
I could have been staring at it,
Watching-
Dan
Wow.
Roan on WGN News.
Yeah. Mama! Black! Scream black!
Well, the screen would be flashing, and I'd probably be like walking toward it,
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
in the
So you couldn't have done this then.
If I did, I don't remember, because I was just a little baby.
You could have been like a baby genius.
I could have been a baby genius.
Are you one of
like
the
the
suspects?
movie.
I guess you'll have to wait and see.
Oh shit.
Suddenly,
There.
a figure
I
bound in a
painted
frame
one
wearing
hand
a
already.
brown suit and a rubber mask with dark glasses, slicked back blonde hair, and a haunting frozen smirk.
McMahon and McKinnon 14-0 Bears. Then the defense, which hadn't put up a sack in 12 quarters, finally did.
Oh,
What the fuck's going on with the telly?
he looks so happy.
Jesus Christ.
Is he just gonna? Was that it?
Well, if you're wondering what's happened. So
That was
the
it?
computer that we have running our news from time to time took off and went wild. So what we're going to do is start over from the top of the Bears and tell you once again about the 30-10 victory they had over Detroit today out at Soldier
He
Field.
said that was because of a computer?
He makes it sound like the computer came to life.
Yeah, he makes it
Oh,
sound like
yes.
that guy is inside the computer and that's how the computer works, and he was
See,
just trying to figure
that guy
it
was
out.
the first
Man is the
AI.
artificial intelligence who controls our news station.
Yeah, that's Compy, the guy who lives in our computer. Sorry you haven't
It's the
seen that.
I
AI.
like that he didn't say anything during this. It's extra scary. He's just sort of like, hi.
It's unnerving. If I saw that,
He was just
live,
vibing.
I'd be fucking freaked out.
He
that
was
we were
just
about to get
vibing,
nuked or
you
something.
know?
I agree. I'm trying to think of like the biggest like live oopsies I've seen. I guess there was Janet
Oh.
Jackson's nipple, which we celebrate.
Nothing that tops this.
What?
No, this is really good.
And I got to give it to
Okay.
Dan Cohn. Is that-
Dan Roan.
Dan Roan. Good job.
Yeah.
You're making me feel safe by talking about Compy, the guy who lives in the computer.
the computer went a little wild.
Back to your cage, Compy.
Unknown. The mask
Combi got out, guys.
Recognizable. Man
He got
in the
out.
Bedroom, a popular character created in 1985 in Britain as, quote, the world's first computer-generated TV host. In this case,
He
AI
actually
gave
did
the
it.
artist a job instead of taking it away, since Max was played by actor and comedian Matt Frewer. Now, the character became a cult personality, notorious for his sharp wit, and because, you know, capitalism, etc., the dark cyberpunk parody about technology and media was given an ad campaign for New Coke, a late-night talk show, and eventually an hour-long series on ABC. The show premiered
So he did
earlier that
come to
year, but
life.
was canceled only weeks before the hijacking after losing a ratings battle against Miami Vice, which,
Well,
you know,
what are you gonna do?
juggernaut.
I ain't got those ratings in a vice grip.
But that's pretty funny. He started out as like this edgy guy, and then he was in Coca-Cola commercials.
Yeah.
What would you sell your soul for?
Probably like Orville Redenbacher
Good
or
brand.
Like some sort of like popcorn brand.
Arizona.
Disneyland,
There's a lot I think you would.
there's
do.
a fair amount.
Yeah.
It's easy to buy me.
Back to
Arizona
Chicago,
tea.
where a maniac buzzing in a
Just
mask
saying.
just hijacked the attention of thousands of viewers.
Thousands?
Yeah, it was. I mean,
Oh, it's just local TV. Oh, I see.
local
Oh,
news.
okay.
I don't know what their ratings are on those things.
At least 100,000. Like how many people are in Chicago?
Well,
Getting-
100,000 is still thousands.
Getting, I mean, yeah, but hundreds of thousands is like
100,000 is still thousands.
Hundreds of
It's
thousands.
still
would be-
thousands.
Hundreds of thousands would be a better way to communicate.
But hundreds of thousands
makes me feel
include
like it was
means like
3,000 people.
200.
Hush!
I feel.
Sorry.
You could have just said over
About 30 seconds,
100,000.
WGN's
Or
technicians
about
regained
100,000.
control. Screens were back on the sportscaster, as we saw, chipper but a little nervous. WGN's technicians immediately began to hunt for the culprit in the building, suspecting an inside job, to no avail.
Oh.
And Max was just getting started. At 11:15 p.m., Max struck his next victim. Channel 11, WTTW, the window to the world. The PBS affiliate was in the middle of an episode of Doctor Who called The Horror of Fang Rock. This time, Max refined
Oh.
his technique. He was in control of the channel's transmission for 1 minute and 22 seconds. Now, also with audio, though most of his words were barely
That's how it
intelligible.
looks like.
That first one was a little bit of a dry run.
He's not gonna be wanking it in this next one, is he?
Well, it gets a little spicy.
The only way to learn.
I'll get you a hot drink.
Some dry clothing.
Oh, okay. I was like, do we have to cover it? What is he? Okay. I don't think he actually had a plan for what he was gonna say.
Oh, what the
Okay. Bob came to the rescue.
As far as I can tell, a massive electric shock is out in.
That is one hell of a director's cut.
It was really good.
Okay.
People are very fortunate that this guy decided to just dance around in a mask and not like cut to a clip of him like fucking or something like that.
It's got big Joker vibes.
And then all of a sudden, he's getting his bare ass spanked by a fly swatter. And
Yeah.
It's like, well, there it is.
yeah.
That's haunting.
There's a part at the very beginning when he laughs, and it sounds like the laugh you do sometimes, a little.
If I was there, I would have been making robot noises. I would have had a blast. Oh man, this is great. So
I don't
we're
know, I
gonna try
think
and
it's
figure out
just
who this
funny.
is?
We're trying to figure out who this little weirdo is.
I hope we don't figure it out.
Bob
wanna
came
turn
to the
history?
rescue.
I don't want this guy to ever get caught.
Within hours, agents from the FCC, FBI, and other federal agencies were on the case.
I'm painting my nails all black, guys. I painted them earlier with gel nail polish. Didn't like it. Took it off. Now I'm just doing regular.
That there's a maximum penalty of $100,000, 1 year in jail, or both.
It's not that bad.
That's not that bad.
100K would ruin your life, I guess. But
Yeah.
but the 1 year in jail, I was expecting like 50 years in jail or something.
Yeah,
You're
that's
gonna put this guy in jail
that
for
doesn't.
wearing a fun little mask and he has bomb spanked?
Yeah, I guess so.
I wouldn't.
Imagine having to explain to your kids,
I guess, you know.
why was his bare ass getting spanked?
I'd be like, because
Why
I
was-
guess he was very naughty.
By the way, FCC being the, what is it?
Bunch of losers. Anytime like a nipple pops up or someone says a C word, a B word.
No, I'm
F
sure. I'm
word,
sure in,
they're
you
like,
know.
You can't do that. That's why we
Well,
do
yeah.
stuff here on Watch Entertainment. We can talk about whatever we want.
That's right.
We don't have to
FCC
deal with
Control
that
Center
FCC
probably
bullshit.
would, can you imagine what they look like when
Fuck you, FCC.
the Janet Jackson nipple incident.
They got so mad.
spit his coffee all over
We've
his
all
laptop.
gotten it. Some people don't have nipples. I'm sure there's someone.
A booby!
I'm sure someone in history was born without nipples, but we've all got nipples, all right? Now, in fact, this
Okay.
type of hacking of the
You kinda got
airwaves,
sidetracked
whether viewed
there.
as a prank or potential act of terror, had become a national problem in the past year or so. The first incident occurred at HBO. For roughly 4 minutes at 12:32 a.m., a movie was interrupted by a written message from Captain Midnight, a vigilante
Captain
protesting the
Midnight.
increasing cost of the subscription service. It read, "Good evening, HBO. From Captain Midnight. $12.95 a month? No way! Showtime/movie channel. Beware." I guess he's
Oh.
warning the other channels because there's Showtime and the movie channel.
Did Captain Midnight start his own streaming service?
Good name for a vigilante.
How easy is it to hijack feeds? We should start doing this ourselves and just start playing like the, you know, like the Mystery Files trailer.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it happens much these days. Can you imagine if that happened on this show?
Oh, that would never happen.
That would never happen.
That never happened.
Just like it never happened.
It's the professor. It's the professor with Ryan's face. Which reminds me, where's Puppet History? Where is Puppet History?
I don't think you should have confessed to that on camera, honestly.
Yeah, well, I mean, it had to get out
You
eventually.
did what you did, I guess. Well, Captain Midnight was
Okay.
caught within days. His name was John McDougal, and he was a Central Florida-based satellite technician. Angry because raising prices hurt his side business selling satellite TV equipment. The punishment for his little crime? The chair.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Oh.
No, none of these people went full Joker.
Oh,
An
I was
ABC
like,
correspondent said
that's
the
kinda
plan, quote,
extreme.
"In wrong hands, this new form of jamming would be no laughing matter."
They called it jamming?
Jamming.
That's fucking cool. That
Jamming.
It makes sense
me
'cause
wanna do
they
it more.
jam the
Jamming
signal.
while jamming. While eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh, jamming and jamming and jamming.
A triple jam.
A triple jam. Now, others were
Like that Bob
concerned
Marley
the
song.
broadcast signal intrusion could permanently damage expensive satellite equipment. McDougal was forced to plead guilty to charges of transmitting without a radio license, a violation
Is it jamming
of
'cause
federal
they-
law, and was
I'm
given
assuming
a
it's called
year
jamming because they
probation
jammed
and
the
$5,000
original
fine.
signal with their own content.
No.
Actually, considering the inflation rate, I guess $12.95 a month is pretty
It's
expensive.
pretty hefty. He
That's
might have had a
Just for
expensive.
HBO?
Can we find out if they lowered their prices after this?
I don't think they did. Because then they have to listen to any signal jammer who comes along.
I'm writing down Captain Midnight Hero.
Hero.
Question mark.
Certainly a
Yes.
man of the people. Now the problem
Yes,
was
we like
Captain
Captain Midnight.
technically was licensed to transmit. It was a legal gray area that was not likely to hold up in court again.
Wait a second.
What?
How?
Because he like worked in installing like satellites and stuff.
So the guy who set up my cable service?
This was the 80s, man.
Oh,
you know?
okay.
Shit was weird, I think. Within months, Congress passed legislation officially outlawing satellite jamming. But hackers were not deterred. In September of 1987,
That's just a
2
challenge
months
at
before
that
hacks
point.
Took over Chicago's airwaves. Playboy TV was hacked by a zealot who put up messages for viewers to repent and find Jesus. Boo!
Yeah.
Okay.
Boo!
I mean-
Boo! Don't push your politics on me, pal.
Thus saith the Lord thy God, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Repent,
I
for
mean,
the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
If you're going to
Playboy
hack
channel.
That's on the
something,
Playboy channel? Oh, wait, that fucking rules then. Wait, this probably isn't an actual zealot. This person probably thinks it's funny that if somebody was watching Playboy TV mid-wank, all of a sudden they get Jesus propaganda. How funny is that?
Repent,
actually
for
is
the
kinda funny.
Kingdom of heaven is at hand.
That's what I'm saying. I
I think this is someone just sticking it.
they're sticking
for
it to
lack of a
someone who's
better word.
already sticking it.
Now, once again, the hacker was quickly caught. And once again, an industry man, a technician who worked for the Christian Broadcasting Network. But Max was different. He used video instead of text. He
Max
had a
isn't like
physical
other
location
hackers.
and an accomplice, and he gave investigators plenty of footage to analyze.
And
He's
this
not
person
like
caught,
other
As
hackers.
was Captain Midnight.
Right, exactly.
So Max really not only revolutionized the medium, but never was caught. Therefore, goated.
Or was he caught? It's a mystery. We'll find out.
I hope not.
Now, Dr. Michael Marcus, then Assistant Bureau Chief in the FCC's Field Operations Bureau, helped catch Captain Midnight and the Playboy hacker and became the lead investigator on the Headroom case.
These
Oh, my hands were in
weird.
in
Now,
front of.
Marcus says
I was like,
the
why is she
culprit
acting
didn't
weird? Because my
require
hands are in front of the.
Quote, it had
my
to be
face.
someone who knew the technology, maybe a broadcast techie, but there were other techies who could figure it out also. He also said his investigation was held up by other agents. Quote, the head man in Chicago said, what am I supposed to do? I said, you have the video. Go to the place where you think it was filmed.
I just love seeing him dance around, and then it cuts to a talking head of some pissed off old white guy
It
who's
is-
like, we're gonna catch this son of a bitch.
Yeah, imagine this man's face just haunting the investigator.
I know, I love it.
His every waking thought, just that little man getting spanked on the buttocks.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, Max
Oh.
could have been caught from two possible locations. First, the place where the signal hijack began. In this case, receivers atop the John Hancock Building and Sears Tower, meaning the culprit had to be way up there, possibly in a high-rise apartment or a rooftop somewhere between the two studios, somewhere on the north side of Chicago. There's the Hancock. You'd have to be all the way up there.
Okay, that's
No.
one jam point.
That's a jam point.
Jam point one.
Note the jam point. And then there was the location where Max filmed. Marcus went into Sherlock mode and described, quote, the background looked to be about 8 feet wide. Industrial type metal, maybe a roll down warehouse door. From that alone, they were able to come up with a suspect who worked at a company with access to a warehouse where it could have been filmed.
Holy shit.
Pretty impressive. I know he thinks it's a warehouse door, and it does look like some sort of like corrugated metal, but it
I
seems
don't-
like just a piece of it, ribboned metal that is like, has a sort of a pivot point behind him that is just sort of swaying back and forth.
I like
Yeah.
what he thought, and I like that they're committing this many resources to finding this
They're
guy.
doing what they can with what they got. They never had enough evidence.
I didn't even
to
realize it
investigate
was
the
metal.
suspect formally. Now, most in the industry believe it had to be an insider. Al Skirkowitz, a broadcast engineer for WTTW, had just arrived at work when he learned of the broadcast interruption, and in the wake of the incident was a part of the discussions with the union, maintenance staff, and director of engineering. He theorized, quote, it had to be a broadcast engineer, a satellite engineer, or a ham radio operator, and probably a combination of at least two of those in order to pull this off.
Huh. I mean, it's an impressive feat.
It clearly involved a lot of smarts and
Yeah.
planning, all for a man getting spanked on the ass.
It wouldn't have killed this guy to do a couple glute workouts.
I didn't get a super good look at it.
They looked a little flat.
Some people can't help that.
Yeah, I know. You got that Mead notebook ass.
Well, I'm wearing sort of a tree trunk of an outfit.
Your ass
I
looks
got-
like a waffle iron.
I got some real meat
Or like
back
something
there.
that I would use to smash tortillas.
Wow.
The city and the country people were talking about.
Wow.
Even though the internet didn't exist yet, there were digital spaces where other hackers were devoted to figuring out the
Oh
mystery.
my God, could you imagine if this happened in Twitter age? Like if Joe Biden was out in the Rose Garden giving like a White House like brief, he gets hijacked by this, Twitter would be a fucking blast that
It would be
day.
fun. On Chicago's computer bulletin board systems, one person with the handle The Chameleon
Nice.
claimed
Oh.
to have studied broadcast interception extensively. And in the morning on November 24th, 1987, 2 days after the event, he wrote, rather threateningly, quote, we'll strike again, I can guarantee it. When another bulletin user asked him to elaborate, he wrote, quote, Hardly an inside job. They just aimed their transmitter at the same transponder that WGN uses and used a higher power. Doesn't even have to be significantly higher, just more. And the WGN signal will cancel out. As I said before, it's one of those things that doesn't work out on paper, but it works. Welcome to Earth, where everything you know is wrong.
Dude, I fucking love this guy.
I mean, I hope this is Max Headroom and he's just like, well, I can't fully out myself, but I'm gonna get out there and drop some bombs.
Do you think this person could conceivably keep their mouth shut?
Sure.
Serial killers. They usually will taunt because they can't take the fact that people just forget about things and move on.
Yes.
There's no fucking way this guy has kept his mouth shut the entirety of his existence on Earth. This might be him.
Well, also, I think this time is interesting because this is the era where this kind of technology was easier to acquire.
You just go to Radio Shack and now you're ready
the
to hack.
rise of Radio
Oh
Shack.
yeah, Radio Shack.
Radio. I like that. Now, somehow, the we part of that message was largely glossed over when he said, "We
We.
will strike again."
Yeah.
Kind of odd.
So is the chameleon a suspect?
Maybe. With that, it's corkboard time. Let's
Yay.
get into the suspects.
Yay! Time for the corkboard.
Suspect 1. As noted, several of the suspects worked in the industry. Some message board sleuths pointed to Chicago radio DJ Jonathan Brandmeier, who was the popular host of a morning show at the WLUP, aka The Loop. My parents really
Loop?
liked old Johnny B.
Oh yeah,
He was a bad boy.
I guess so.
Now, critics speculated that he had worked as an employee and engineer at WGN briefly and held a grudge against them, though it does not seem he was employed by them until decades later.
You ever try and hack BuzzFeed?
All the time.
Yeah, me too.
The interesting thing, Jonathan Brandmeier was sort of like a cocky DJ at the time, so it
Okay.
would be kind of a weird flex for him to be like, let me do a crime.
Perhaps he's the chameleon who said, "Welcome to Earth, where everything you know is wrong." We should start saying that at the beginning of the show.
Welcome
Welcome
to Mystery
to
Files,
Mystery Files.
where everything you know is wrong. And now, Chameleon, feel free to come at us and press charges.
I was about to say that's the best part. He can't come after us because he can't reveal his identity.
Now, others on the message boards
Yeah,
pointed to
That's true.
Al Skirkowitz. Remember this guy?
Is that your Wi-Fi password?
No, that's the station.
Oh, okay.
Window to the World. It's a PBS affiliate.
Cool.
Now, Al Skirkowitz, you may remember, was one of the WTTW broadcast engineers at the time of the incident. However, Skirkowitz continued to work at the station for over 40 years.
Oh, wow.
In 2020, he spoke to a podcast of the impact of the hack. He said, quote, "For broadcast operations to be interjected that way, it's a serious invasion. It's like somebody breaking into your house. To have somebody take that over from you became sort of personal for every one of our engineering staff." You know, people were like, maybe he's the inside man, but he clearly took it very personally.
Or
He was hurt.
The double bluff. Or the bluff. That's not just a bluff. That's a bluff. would
Double
be.
bluff would be him like, oh yeah, I did it. It was me.
yeah,
A
yeah.
guy like me could do that.
Yeah, so that's just a bluff. He could be bluffing.
But also, WTTW, it's a very polite channel. You know, everyone who works there is pretty chill.
They're showing like Wishbone and Izabumafu and all that shit.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly right. Suspect 3. For many years, another popular suspect was performance artist and musician Eric Fournier.
Oh.
Best known as the later creator of a YouTube series called Chez St. John that he starred in and is exactly the creepy, surreal early YouTube internet fever dream that you might expect.
They're performance artists. I could see that. This is performance, and it is art.
Now, theorists say that Fournier's style and showmanship were giving similar vibes as the Max Headroom hacker. Now, at the time, Fournier was a teenager living in Bloomington, Indiana.
Oh, so
and
that
part
was
of a
probably
band
not.
called The Blood Farmers.
How close is that?
Bloomington, Indiana, it's not far, maybe like an hour or two away. Now, proponents think that Eric may have wanted to broadcast one of their music videos, but reverted to a singular performance instead so as not to jeopardize his bandmates. His former bandmate describes the theory as ridiculous bullshit and says, quote, "Eric didn't know anything about video editing when we were in high school. We never made music videos apart from someone maybe videotaping one of our shows. We weren't friends with anyone getting degrees in mass communication and had no access to broadcasting equipment. I think the only time the four of us were ever in Chicago together was to see a Pixies concert at the Riviera. I love that."
This could be just a bro sticking up for his bro,
Sounds like a bro
Yeah.
sticking up for his bro,
or
but also
covering for his bro.
Yeah, could be.
Weird thing for this guy to be like,
Hey,
he
man.
doesn't know anything about multimedia, and it's like, he had a YouTube channel, so.
Yeah, but you've seen some of those YouTube channels, man. What, you think it takes a genius?
Sometimes I do think it takes a genius.
A whole team of them. Now, Ryan, I got a question. Like you said, bros sticking up for bros.
Yeah.
What if I had done this? And someone came to you and said, we've got our suspicions that it might be old Shane Madej over there in Schaumburg, Illinois. He was 1 year old, but we got our suspicions.
Or I'd give them your home address.
You'd just rat me out?
Probably give them the office address,
If
too.
you did it, I would be proud of you, and I would not tell anybody.
Oh, I'd tell them immediately.
You're nasty. You're a nasty guy.
I'm just kidding.
I knew you were.
I'd tell them Stephen Lim did it.
Now, I would do that too. Now, that'd be funny. Watch his ass go to prison.
Yeah, watching them slap the cuffs on Stephen Lim.
Meanwhile, we're like,
Look at him go.
Fournier passed away in 2010.
Oh.
So sad.
R.I.P.
But
Oh.
his friends and family maintain
I just
that
got back
while
and that's
he
the
would have
first
been
thing I hear.
accused by the accusation, he
Okay.
was innocent in this case.
I love that his family being like, he didn't do it, but it's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny.
Big fans.
All right, so our final suspects. Now, these last two came into the public imagination over 2 decades after the incident.
Sorry.
Bowie Pogue shared a viral thread on Reddit,
Reddit.
to have first-hand knowledge of the hackers from his time as a young and crusty pre-internet cyberpunk.
It was an AMA.
This AMA says, I believe I know who was behind the Max Headroom incident that occurred on Chicago TV in 1987. A bunch of people have been asking me about this lately, so I figured I'd do a core dump, AMA. Core dump? I guess core dump means like, I'll tell you everything I know. you
Very
know?
different version for me.
Now, at the time of the incident, Pogue was actually only 13 years old, but he was eager to make friends within the ranks of Chicago hackers, which is how he came across 2 brothers at least twice his age that he believed to be the culprits, whom he called J and K.
Cool.
JK.
the guys from Men in Black.
I didn't even put that together, but you're right. Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones.
In between punching cockroaches, they're like, hey, let's
Have a little fun.
hijack the Chicago local
They
news.
seem like the kind of guys who'd get up to this.
It just occurred to me, this would be 2 people because there was somebody spanking.
The way that the spanking cuts in makes me think that part of it is pre-recorded.
But at the very least, there's 2 people who know about it. There's a spanky,
Right.
and there's a spanker.
Seems like there would have to be.
They also
multiple
said
people.
we.
I'd paint my
Alright,
butt
let's
cheeks
check.
blue.
Like the
Let's
blue?
check again.
Well, that's because they wouldn't be able to know what I am. I clearly could see that this was a Caucasian male.
Right.
Those butt cheeks were pale as snow.
Those
so
look exactly like mine.
I can't imagine your cheeks see much daylight.
No, they're like porcelain. They actually look like this. Now, Jay was the younger brother, and Pogue describes him as having savant syndrome. Quote, Jay knew a great deal about not just the broadcast spectrum, as you can see here, but the electronics that underpinned that sort of stuff. He was a broadcast hacker. Pogue described that Jay was strange and socially awkward, largely cared for by his older brother, Kay, who worked for a telephone company, and, quote, was very normal looking by anyone's standards. And along with Kay's girlfriend, M, obviously.
M.
Oh, cool.
Her name. Now, J, K, and M actually all lived together in Kay's apartment.
There's no
about
L?
10 miles or so from downtown Chicago. We've got a lady who could be sporting a fly swatter.
I
Nasty
can't
boy,
remember
nasty boy, nasty
if
boy.
I saw the hand. Was it a
I think
particularly?
it looked like a lady. Now, Pogue claimed the day of the Max Headroom incident that he was at J&K's place with a few other hackers / nerds when Jay started referring to something as big. Big. Now, because this story wouldn't be anything without it, the group then relocated to a Pizza Hut, where Pogue questioned Jay further about what big meant. And then, quote, Kay leaned forward and told me, just watch Channel 11 later tonight. Pogue wrote on Reddit, quote, all of his jokes constantly involved something childish and or sexually deviant. The video, for all intents and purposes, is a perfect reflection of Jay's sense of humor. Scary, nervous, and comically sexually deviant.
Sounds like me.
I look at the guy in the mask and all I see is Jay. That does sound like you. Scattered,
Yeah.
sexually deviant.
Talks about poop a lot.
You do talk about poop. In 2008, Pogue updated the Reddit post, saying he and Rick Klein, chief curator of the Museum of Classic Chicago Television, had come across evidence that he believed exonerated J&K. While they could not go into great detail publicly, it seemed Klein and Pogue both were under the impression that it would have been nearly impossible for the hack to have been an outside job. The technology wasn't advanced enough for an amateur to have the tools to pull it off in the wild.
I love
In
a
the
guy
wild.
starting a Reddit thread saying, I know who did this. And then later being like, they're exonerated. They didn't do it. No one thought they did it except you.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
about
Guys, I know
Though,
this.
of course,
Update. Actually,
because
I don't know
is
this.
Earth, where
It is?
everything you know is wrong.
Oh, shit.
Oh. Wait. Is he the
All right, now
chameleon?
that you've got your lay of the land, before I reveal whether or not this remains a mystery, who do you think out of these suspects did it?
I don't trust Reddit, so it's the last couple are out. Number 3, don't think that dude had that time. I'm actually gonna go with 2, the
You think it
lifer.
was Al Skirkowitz?
Yeah, the guy who worked there for 4
I feel like
years
it's
and did
one.
that podcast interview.
the genial
got-
employee of WTTW.
I think
11.
I think
Al
he got tired
was-
of people not talking about it anymore, hence going on the podcast, and then tried to up his street cred in his own mind again.
Well, I don't want to point
No.
any fingers at Al personally, because he seems like a lovely man.
I don't
Got
think
lovely
it's
ass
Al.
cheeks.
So you're going with Sweet
I think
Al.
it's
I'm
Sean.
gonna go with
That's
Sweet
it.
Al.
Though, of course, because this is Earth, where everything you know is wrong, the internet has also pointed out the possibility that Pogue himself was the hacker, and his post could be a way of deflecting or distracting attention from himself while staying at the center of the dialogue, which brings us
Oh.
back to who knows. The Headroom Hooligan was never caught. Let the Max Headroom incident be a mystery.
Well, so it was a mystery.
Good job, whoever did it.
I'm glad that person didn't get caught, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to do. If you're just having fun and you're, getting your ass spanked on TV, go do it.
Yeah,
Don't do it for nefarious reasons. Just get your ass out there.
yeah, no, exactly.
Well, Ryan, it's been a great season of doing whatever we're doing down here.
Oh, thanks, man. I like solving mysteries with you, or not solving them.
You never quite know, do you?
No, I never do.
Well, hey, thanks for watching Mystery Files. We'll see you next season.
Yay.
I hope.
What if they replace us?
Oh,
We passed away, or just
If we
'cause-
both passed away.
Oh, okay.
If we both passed away.
that's not ominous at all.
Pizza Hut! Hey, Pizza Hut, you want to sponsor season 2?
Yeah.
I love Pizza Hut.
Is Puppet History out? Yes! Puppet History was released. Let's watch the new Puppet History. The unkillable weirdo who invented the saxophone. Oh, hello! Hello, hello. Welcome to the chat. We're watching Puppet History.
Welcome one and all to the shining 6th season of Puppet History.
Yay!
Everything is different now. No longer will two innocent students be pitted against one another for our
Oh?
amusement, senselessly competing for the nonsensical title of History Master or that finally meaningless coveted cup. That format was exploitative, cruel, and on behalf of the former murdered me, I apologize.
Aw,
Somebody read their own
Professor.
Reddit page.
Moving forward, we'll be taking an ever-winding look at yet more chapters in the heavy book we call history, while our guests ruthlessly compete for the coveted title of History Wizard and the right to don the coveted cap. I, as always, and for the first time, am your beloved host, the
Professor.
Thank you in advance for your cooperation. Now, it is
I
my
love the
great
professor's
pleasure
little
to
jacket.
Ryan Bergara, my dear
Where's his
friend,
hat, though?
Are you ready?
Sure, man. Love the getup. You're in your like Beatles era.
Oh, you just wait, you'll find out.
The getup is what you noticed, not his brand new face.
Special guest Stephen Lim, are you ready?
Does he have a different
Oh,
face?
good to
Does
be
the
back
professor
here.
have a
For
different
some
face?
reason in my mind, I thought you died, but then I remembered that was sort of the whole Black Plague thing.
Wait, oh my gosh, the last time I've seen you face to face,
I was warning you about the dangers of a pandemic.
and I laughed about it.
Yeah, you did, you piece of shit.
Man, you're
Sorry.
sorry.
Your phone, dude.
I apologize to everybody.
Well then, let's crack in.
Your hair looks good this season, Professor.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you don't have a hat.
I don't want to wear my little hat anymore.
It's crazy.
Aw.
Don't touch my fuzzy little head.
That.
It is pretty.
Okay.
Are you bigger?
I'm bigger, but I'm still just a little guy. You guys ready to
I love the
Yeah,
professor. The professor is
To
amazing.
begin, what kind of music you like?
I listen to pop music.
You listen to pop music.
Pop, you know,
I like
whatever's on the radio
rock.
these days.
I listen to pretty much everything,
Punk.
honestly.
Reggae.
Yeah, there's some reggae. I like Bob Marley.
Well, today it's easy to take for granted the infinite ocean of musical genres, artists, and songs available in your cellular telephones. But, like everything, it wasn't always like that. Only a couple hundred years ago, if you wanted that hit new sound, you had to wait for someone to play something new in your presence. And if you wanted something you've truly never heard before, well, then you gotta find the true pioneers, the folks building their very own instruments.
It is interesting that there was an era where people were just making up instruments.
Yeah. I mean, there was a whole span of time there where people were like, yeah, what about a little instrument that goes wop, wop, wow,
Or what about one like this?
Oh gosh.
What?
I-
What? Hang on.
The entire.
Wait, no, wait, shh.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is
What?
it integral that
Oh.
you do that face?
These are what founder meetings are like. By the
You
way.
gotta.
Just FYI.
I
This is
just
how
hear
I watch
a
it.
weird noise, and I come
Our
back and
story
I just see
today
that.
is about one such
Okay.
inventor, a man whose dreams about sound revolutionized music forever.
Okay,
and
Ryan.
the myriad ways the universe hated and punished him for it. Let's talk about sax, baby. Adolphe Sax.
It just hit me that the guy's name was Sax.
Yeah, can
Like
you venture to guess what instrument he invented?
I mean, if I had a.
Probably the violin.
He's zagging on us.
I feel like it's the flute.
Antoine Joseph Sax, that's Adolphe to you and me, was born November 6th, 1814 in Dinan, Belgium. The first of 11 children, Adolphe's dad, Charles, was a successful and respected maker of musical instruments,
Ooh.
specializing in brass and woodwinds. When Adolphe was still young, King William I of Orange, the new king of the Netherlands and Grand Duke of Luxembourg, brought Charles to his newly established royal court in Brussels and appointed him Belgium's chief musical instrument manufacturer.
Oh, that's cool.
Our first question of the season.
First
What was
question.
the main job for Belgium's chief musical instrument manufacturer? A. Create instruments for use at the Royal Concert Hall. B. Create instruments for the army. Or C. Create instruments for the hundreds of entertainers in the king's court.
The way you set us up, it felt like we were going to be in a collaborative learning environment.
I mean, do you guys want to?
Maybe not with this guy, but
Oh.
You don't want to collaborate with the guy who crosses his eyes and plays his belly button? You look pretty fucked up, man.
And that's what happens when you feel the music running through you.
Okay,
Ryan,
Ryan.
what you got over there?
Oh, I didn't even guess.
B. I just love the idea of a flute that shoots bullets. You would
I think
want
it's-
them to be
I
able
think
to
it's
play
C.
a tune, but also double function as a weapon. If
It-
need
it
be,
makes
like
sense
a
that it would be
bayonet
C.
on top of a
feel.
saxophone.
Well, a bayonet would probably be better on a trombone, right? Because then
yeah,
you,
you could shoot that thing.
You could stab so many
you could
people.
you could stab them while going, whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't think
see what-
weapon instruments.
put
My
B,
first thought was
Battle
like
of the
marching.
Bands.
My boys are out here. Beep, 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 buzz, buzz.
You gonna pop out your belly button for the beat?
Yeah, pop it out, bud.
2 times you gotta pay for it.
All right. I'll
Smart
Apple
man.
Pay you right now. $5.
But do it.
Fuck yeah, dude. Drop that beat.
Okay.
Boys.
You know what? I want to near your mic, so here we go.
Oh,
Yeah, get in
Okay,
there.
here we go. I want to near your mic.
Boys.
First episode of this new season, guys.
You know for that? I'm gonna
We're
send
having
you.
fun this season. I don't
sending
care
you
what you
$6.
do. We're just fucking doing it, man. All right. Well, that's gonna be beans all around for my beautiful beat boys.
Hey! High five.
Yay! Oh, so it was B. Oh.
Yes, sir. It's been true throughout history and remains true today. If you owned a business, the surest way to prosperity was to set those morals on a shelf and score yourself some of that sweet government cheese. Ideally, in the military. But the question remains, why would an army need a bunch of instruments?
Well, isn't it
Back in the
like?
first half of the 19th century, regimental band music was a crucial
Yeah,
element
I
of
remember
military
seeing,
prestige
like,
and
drum
prowess.
and
If
stuff.
you wanted a foreign nation to respect your military might, short of trying to murder them with bullets, you could instead play them a sample from your band camp. During this era, music was such an essential part of the armed forces that military victories often meant you got to take all the instruments from the losing army.
Nice.
Oh, that's amazing.
Don't take my flute.
You shoot a bunch of people, get a Rickenbacker guitar.
Yeah, you kicked my friend's asses, but don't take my flute.
Well, they're dead.
Good do. They'll pry it from your
That's
cold
true.
dead hands.
Bullshit.
I'm trying to think if we were in a war, what I would want from you, but I don't think there's anything you have that I'd be like, really take that.
With his dad collecting that government paycheck, one would think young Adolf must have lived the carefree life of a happy Belgian child, munching on waffles and pissing in fountains, the type of European childhood fairy tales are written about. But such was not the case for our little Brussels sprout.
Hey,
That was funny, huh?
It was good.
How did Adolf spend his youth? A. Learning military tactics from his father's army clients. B. In and out of Belgian jail for disturbing the peace. Or C. Stuck in a Final Destination-esque death loop.
Oh.
Hey, which put?
I put A, learning to mass murder.
Okay, and
I feel like it's C.
C, final countdown.
Well,
It's the
point for Stephen
final
Wynn.
countdown. Yay! That's a point for me too.
Clear the nature of the curse that seemed to be placed on Adolf's head as a boy, but listen to this list of events and tell me nothing was up. At age 2, he tumbled down 2 flights of stairs,
Oh.
breaking his head on a little rock so severely that he was comatose for a week. At age 3, he chugged a glass of sulfuric acid, which he thought was milk, which may have only been one of 4 substances that he poisoned himself with, including white lead, copper oxide, and arsenic.
Who's just leaving this stuff
Actually,
around?
You can't be held responsible for your actions. It sounds like parental negligence.
Well,
but
you know.
Who is just leaving sulfuric acid around?
around your kids.
Yeah, why was there a glass of sulfuric out?
I know what they're up to in
Honey, where
Belgium.
should I put this glass of sulfuric acid? Oh, put it in the fridge.
He once swallowed a needle. He jumped onto a burning hot stove. Some gunpowder exploded in a workshop, which threw him across the room and left his body badly burned. A tile dislodged from a roof and fell on his head. And at age 10, he fell in a river and was about to be pulled into a whirlpool until he was saved by a villager. By
That
the time
poor
he was
guy.
a teenager, Adolf's head was scarred and half his body was covered in burns. Cool. But he'd survived the gauntlet. And god damn it if he wasn't gonna make something of himself.
That was very Final
Sounds like
Destination.
it was only half his body though, so he had big Harvey Dent energy.
Okay, so Harvey Dent
Yeah.
more. Well, that's quite the rap sheet. This all seems pretty wild.
I mean, how wild is it for that time period, though? Like, these are just like normal things back then.
You know, I guess tile on your head, nothing you could do about that. Just looking up right now, I could see about 6 or 7 things that would instantly kill me.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, between regular brushes with death, Adolf was quickly learning his father's trade, surpassing his old man in both skill and ambition. By age 15, his instruments were already good enough to display at the Brussels Industrial Exhibition. By 20, he'd invented his very own instrument. That was, of course, say it with me,
The sax.
the bass clarinet.
Oh.
I knew it. Gotcha, Steven!
You son of a gun.
You knew it, so you'll get a history point for knowing that I was zagging.
Oh, wait, that makes sense, though. The shape of the bass clarinet is similar to the shape of the sax.
It is. It's got that weird neck.
I was thinking of the more Squidward-y kind of clarinet, but no.
I played that clarinet.
You did?
Yeah, me and Lizzie both played the clarinet.
Do those reeds taste good?
No. And they get disgusting.
Do they sell flavored ones?
They do. They do. I've
Good
seen
idea,
it.
dude.
I've
seen a Gatorade one.
Well, in fact, the bass clarinet already existed, but the version that people knew before Adolf got his mitts on it, sucked. Adolf transformed the bass clarinet from a, quote, unreliable and mostly unplayable instrument into a regal, elegant woodwind that provided a rich bottom to any instrumental configuration and, remarkably, played in tune. The newly rehabilitated instrument had quickly been adopted as a standard member of the woodwind group, and its inventor acknowledged as an engineer of great promise in the musical capitals of Europe.
I've played on
That's
some
a
bad
lot of
clarinets
words.
before, like the $200, $300 ones.
Yeah.
They don't compare.
What's the worst you've ever played in front of an audience?
Once we were playing the Harry Potter theme song,
No.
whatever it's called. And
Can we put a picture up of young Steven right now so we can get some context for who's carrying his clarinet?
Man, I ruined that vibe.
It was not a very magical
Adolf
experience.
was well on his way to being a somebody in the cutthroat business of instrument manufacturing. But take my word for it, when you start making big waves in a stodgy, stuck-in-the-past industry, you're gonna make some enemies. With his invention of the new and improved bass clarinet, a jealous bass clarinetist who played the old, barely listenable version of the instrument threatened to quit his orchestra if they adopted the new version.
Can handle it.
Hey, how did Sax respond? A, he challenged the guy to a musical duel.
That would be awesome.
B, he challenged the guy to an arsenic swallowing contest.
That also would make
Or
sense.
C, he challenged the guy to a good old-fashioned gun duel.
I feel like B. I want it to be B.
Hamilton situation.
Oh yeah.
I want it to be
You guys having
the
fun?
arsenic
Oh, I haven't had-
competition.
I'm having a blast.
I was gone for so long, I forgot,
Believe in yourself a little bit more.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no room for that crippling self-doubt. There's only room for one person to do that on this set, and it's fucking me.
Cool. I've never seen someone be so confident with their lack of self-esteem.
You know, it's an art form, and I've perfected it over the years.
Really good. Beefy Baby, what do we
congrats.
got?
Hey, dude, play it, dipshit. Let's go.
Okay. And Stevie.
That one is the obvious answer, so I'm going with C. Alexander Hamilton. Winner take all.
Okay, well, we're gonna find out via the magic of theater.
Yay!
Bye-bye.
Magic of theater.
Voila! My masterpiece, the thing I'll forever be known for inventing, the bass clarinet. Fa! Fa, I say! I'm one of the greatest bass clarinetists in Brussels, and I say fa! If your instrument replaces old tutors here, I'll quit the band! You are a stubborn fool, and to prove it, I challenge you. Oh, to what? A gun duel? Yes, except instead of guns, we will use music. I accept the terms. You go first.
Aw.
Very well. Well, if that's the best you can do, I hope you're ready to be branded a loser. Prepare your ears for the erotic sounds of my horrible clarinet. Ta-da!
No,
I think I'm gonna
that
take the W on
was
this one.
that was.
Yes, I sounded very bad. Whee! Yes, a point for Beef Boy. In an industry
Aw.
rife with
I
proud,
kinda-
majestic men, Sax stood out as especially
I kinda
arrogant
hoped it was
and would often
B,
embarrass
with
his
the amount of
detractors
times he
in musical
cheated death.
duels. With lots of big ideas and the musical chops to back them up, Adolphe spent most of his 20s honing his craft in Belgium, making quite a name for himself in the instrument-making racket.
How do you even know how to make an instrument?
How does anyone know how to make anything? I can't.
How did they do it?
I can't
How did they
make
do it?
anything.
How did anyone make a cake? You know, if I had to invent a shoe, it would look so bad.
I think cake
Probably too
is
small
a
for
milk
most people.
bucket,
Because you never wear
wheat,
shoes?
and sugar.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You could have my shoe.
By 1841, at age 27, Adolphe was working on something big. He was going to be presenting a new instrument, this time totally original, to the Belgian National Convention. An early iteration of the, that's right, saxophone. This was a huge deal. The last new instrument to be introduced in Western music was the clarinet, more than 100 years prior.
Wow.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's a long time to go without a new instrument.
New instrument
Wow.
just dropped.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Now, Sax wasn't just hitting that fat brass so he could make money.
Wake
He was
up,
trying to
new
solve a
instrument just
legitimate
dropped.
problem in orchestras. As author Michael Siegel describes in his book, The Devil's Horn, quote, in an orchestra, the strings were often overwhelmed by the woodwinds, which in turn were overpowered by the brasses. Sax had created an instrument with the tonal qualities of the woodwinds, the projection of the brasses, and the flexibility of the strings. Essentially, Sax envisioned his horn to be the rug that would tie the whole orchestra together.
Is this the last instrument that was invented? Because I just realized how excited I would be if it got announced that like the Philharmonic is gonna have a new instrument they're gonna debut, like a big fucked up horn, like a like,
Yeah, like a big old like,
yeah,
yeah,
like
it made a noise like
yeah, barks like a dog.
barks like a dog.
It's just a fucking dog.
Well,
Okay.
unfortunately, the music world wasn't reacting to Sax's new phone with much celebration. Reportedly, the exhibition refused to give him first prize because he was too young, informing him that, well, if they gave him this prize now, there would be nothing else for him to win later.
Oh.
That's bullshit.
We've all been there in our careers.
People die all the time. Give them their accolades when they're young, you know?
Agreed.
I
Appreciate
got eaten
them.
by a dinosaur.
That's true. What
That
was
is
hell like?
true.
I didn't actually see hell.
I feel like you saw hell. I feel like you're lying to me.
Why did you assume you went to hell?
I mean,
Did you go to heaven?
we could run a whole video reel on why you would go to hell.
I'm a nasty little guy. There are also reports that a competitor at the exhibition saw the early saxophone and kicked it across the floor, breaking the instrument and Sax's heart.
Damn.
Oh my god.
That's just
That's
cool.
nasty. Band kids are feral.
Yeah, they're competitive. They just challenge each other to
A
get
lot
the
of
first
angst
chair.
in band kids.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like in
Band-
basketball or like a sport, you get all that out. Band, you just gotta sit there
Yeah.
and listen to this fucking guy solo next to you and loving every second of it too.
I was a nervous creature.
Don't call yourself
Be honest.
dude.
Well, the Belgian National Convention of 1841 was the last straw for our grumpy little Sax. He wasn't getting the respect he felt he deserved, stuck in podunk Brussels. In 1842, Adolphe Sax took his talents to cosmopolitan Paris, where he hoped he would find an urbane crowd appreciative of the funny-looking horn he'd named after himself. Unfortunately, Paris wasn't
Why is she
all
keeping it in a
baguettes,
face?
sex, and eclairs. For most of his time in Paris, Adolphe lived in poverty. Albert Remy, one of Adolphe's biographers, describes Adolphe's time in the City of Lights as, quote, a prodigious, tormented existence, darkened by dire experiences and upheld with courage and fortitude. Which is also what Bergara says to me anytime I ask him how his weekend was.
I told you that in confidence, but
Now, Adolphe Sax clearly had a great idea. He just needed to spread that idea. So he decided to take a page from his father's score. He sought a deal with the government to outfit the French military band. To secure this contract, Adolphe presented his new and improved saxophone at the 1844 Paris Industrial Exhibition, including to Lieutenant General Comte de Rumigny, the king's aide-de-camp. De Rumigny was blown away by Sax's phone and thought it was just the thing needed to revitalize the French military's less than exceptional band. De Rumigny arranged for Sax to give a performance for King Louis Philippe, Queen Marie Amélie, and their sons.
he made him have like that Ratatouille moment.
Yeah.
When he bites into the Ratatouille, he sees his whole childhood flash before his eyes.
Yeah. If I had never heard a saxophone in my life and someone walked into a room and started going like, I'd be like, holy shit!
Me too. I'd be like, dude, that's the best sounding thing I've ever heard in my life. And why does he not have a shirt on?
Yeah. It's a sexy instrument. You get real sweaty when you play it too.
I wish that was a rule, honestly. That you could
No
never,
shirts?
You could never play a saxophone with a shirt on.
No shirts, yes sax, no problem.
Yeah, dude.
Now, coming off this momentum, Adolphe wrote the French Minister of War, laying out his plan to totally overhaul the sound of France's military, courtesy of the hot new sound provided by his sexy little saxophone. Now, there was only one man standing in the way. The director
looks
in
like he
charge
would
of
stand in
training
the way.
military's band, Michel Carafa.
He
Carafa
looks
was one of
evil.
Adolphe's many detractors, and he had submitted his own saxophone-free plan to revitalize France's war sound. This was such high stakes that a simple symphonic duel wasn't going to settle matters. There needed to be a whole battle of the bands. The date, April 22nd, 1844. The place, Paris's Champ de Mars, a big park that would, in a few years, have a big pointy steel tower erected above it. The combatants, Adolphe Sax versus Michel Carafa. Both men had assembled 45-piece orchestras, but Adolphe was at a disadvantage. What was the disadvantage?
He doesn't know how to read sheet
Someone
music.
had bribed members of Adolphe's orchestra to not show up. B. Someone had switched out all of the sheet music for Adolphe's songs. Or C. Someone had poisoned Adolphe the night before.
C.
Oh, damn, a Jordan flu game scenario.
C.
He knows what I'm talking about.
That's when
Of course
he
I know
had,
what you're talking about.
Well,
He knows what you're talking about.
yeah, that's when Jordan had the flu, but he also had a game.
Actually, he ate some bad pizza.
He had bad pizza?
Yeah, that's the real story.
Yeah, but the rumor is that the people who made the pizza did it on purpose.
No. It had been sitting out for a while.
Well, hey, wait, I have an
All
idea.
right.
Why don't you guys answer the fucking question?
I can talk about sports.
Okay,
more. How about that? I wanna talk about
Professor.
sports.
Seaflu game.
Seaflu game.
Hey, money, please.
Oh.
Ooh.
That's pretty good.
Well, a point for Stephen Lim.
Aw. They were
Hey!
bribed.
Woo, 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 woo!
You got it. You got
You're
your
doing
business
so
boy
good.
here.
Yes, at least 2 bass saxophonists didn't show up on the day, and some reports claim Adolph's band was 20% smaller than the competition. This only motivated Sax further, and he showed up to lead his band with 2 instruments strapped to his side.
Oh
So he
shit!
filled in for the 2 people.
Dang.
Now get a load of this. 20,000 people showed up to witness the carnage of battle. Though applausometer technology was still centuries away, it was clear who won by the reaction of the crowd.
So they did it Apollo style, or like You Got Served style.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Who do you think won?
You know, I'm gonna go with sax because there's a reason why the saxophone is around. I assume it's because the sax played mightily, and everyone was like, "Damn, what's that sexy instrument? And where can I get the nearest hotel room?"
Well, in fact, Sax kicked Carafa's brass. Part of the victory could be attributed to the plain fact that they had an easier time hearing sax. Imagine a crowd of 20,000 people trying to hear a concert with no sound amplification. Making instruments loud, however, was Sax's bread and butter. His original instruments, plus the modifications he added to the traditional instruments, meant more people could hear and react to his band's sounds. Sax emerged triumphant. The quote, talk of
He used
Paris
tax.
for days.
He used tax
imagining how
IRL.
goofy These modifications looked like some Doc Brown giant. You know the thing they put on like a dog's head so it doesn't lick its balls.
Oh yeah, I
after?
assume it was conical.
Even like the shape of the sax today, I get it now. It's like it's pointing up so that the sound comes out at you like a megaphone. Whereas the clarinet, we're going down.
You're going straight
We're
down.
going straight down to the ground.
He's right. It's a good point.
You're right.
Physics.
Well, the French military
know if
immediately
it's
adopted
physics,
the saxophone and,
but
wouldn't you
yes.
know it, started winning more musical contests. For his part, securing that fat government contract finally meant a bit of financial breathing room for Adolphe. Unfortunately, it also intensified the hatred that every other music man in Paris felt toward the Belgian import. I mean, hey, you know, you start picking up some popularity, you're gonna get your haters, baby.
Well, we should be
True.
thankful for our haters.
You have haters? No.
I'm
you
thankful
don't
for
have
my haters.
haters.
I'm thankful for my haters every day. I'm thankful for my haters. They make me stronger.
Exactly. Every morning I say in the mirror, if you hate me,
Thank you.
By this time, the fierce rivalry Sax had with more or less everyone had grown into an entire lifestyle. Sax's enemies formed a coalition with the express purpose of destroying the saxophone and with it,
They formed the
Sax's
Sax
life.
Hate Club.
The Association of United Instrument Makers, as the group was known,
Uh-oh.
had a president, a treasurer, and dues-paying members. And they pursued every possible avenue to destroy Adolphe Sax.
Sounds like Twitter nowadays, honestly. Sheesh,
Sounds
man.
like someone does have some haters.
Love you.
The group filed countless lawsuits against him, not just to try and financially ruin him, but also so he would be tied up in court instead of hanging out in his workshop, absolutely dominating the industry. In fact, a big reason why the saxophone looks how it does was in response to one of the myriad frivolous lawsuits thrown at him. The German chapter of the group, that's right, it was international, made an instrument with a similar
was
shape,
hated
hoping to
worldwide.
compete with the saxophone, but its sound paled in comparison, and it fell into obscurity. Sax's foes would even bribe his employees to abandon Sax and steal his specialized tools.
I don't understand the concentrated hate for this like saxophone. Did this guy do something else like behind the scenes that we're not aware of? Did he bang these people's wives?
Maybe people thought it was just an obnoxious noise.
It's loud. It
You
is a
know,
loud instrument.
And also, it's a modern sounding instrument. You know, it's got that new sound.
It's like people hating on BTS when they came on the scene.
True.
Right.
They're objectively a
True,
good
Steven.
band with
True.
good music, but then it's easy to hate because they're not the classical music that
True.
you
They're not
used
the
to.
Beatles.
True.
Well, despite
True.
all these efforts, Sax
Yes.
continued to absolutely
Steven
win
gets
the
it.
war with his opponents in musical duels. At one point, 12 of his saxotubas, that's right, there are other instruments in the sax family, were able to drown out a reported 1,500 instruments.
Just play
Wow.
that scenario out, though. I'm very doubtful they set this up. Oh, a group of 12 people versus 15. That's a lot of people.
Whoa, but you gotta see this instrument. This is wild.
Wait, is it? Oh, shit, it's fucking huge, dude.
I would see you playing this thing.
Oh, my
Can
God.
we show this?
With no one able to compete with sax musically, his antagonists resorted to attempts on his life. One would-be assassin ended up stabbing an employee of Sax's to death instead of Sax himself.
It's another pro of not living with Instagram, too. No one really knows what you look like.
Yeah.
If Sax were alive today, he'd probably be all over the internet.
Yeah.
He'd want to get it out there, like, yeah, check out this instrument. He'd be all over TikTok.
When you say it that way, I would probably start to hate him if my feed just kept getting, like, overpopulated by a dude playing a saxophone.
You'd hear that little TikTok voice being like, check out this new instrument.
Oh, God, I fucking had it with the Siri voice, dude.
They gotta stop that.
Just stop it.
Another put a whole-ass bomb under Sax's bed, only to see it explode prematurely because of a faulty fuse. If only these a-holes had known what everyone in Belgium learned when Sax was a wee boy. Adolphe Sax could not be killed. Then, in early 1848,
He's immortal.
Adolphe suffered the biggest blow to the saxophone's rise. What happened? A. Adolphe Sax was finally murdered. B. The invention of the guitar. Or C. Revolution!
Revolution.
Oh, yeah, here we go. And what would be Bergara Guitarra, baby? Because you all know I played the guitar for that couple months when I got my heart broken.
Aw.
And I never picked it up again.
B, got hit with that G-string.
Jesus.
Oh, B-boys! We got B-boys again! huh?
That's right, dude.
B-boys! B-boys!
I know you're trying to coax another belly button playing out, but it's not going to happen. I
know
told
what
you.
I'm trying to
Steven sounds like he's playing the Kahoot song.
You know what? So you can hear it a little better. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, look at that.
Go on.
Why is it better for you to do it to him than to me?
Stand up in front of the TV.
All right, here we go.
Play your belly button.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta
Yeah,
say,
I got a little hot and bothered there. Wow.
my angle of that was not the best.
All right, let's find out via the magic of theater.
Magic of theater.
Another day, another dollar. I hope the king wants some more instruments. Oh, these lawsuits are getting a little pricey. Bonjour, how may I help you? Yes, I'm here to see the king. Oof, well, a bit of bad news. The king has been deposed. He's been deposed?
Oui.
We fired him. It's a French Revolution. You
See?
know.
I knew it.
Not a big one. The king's gone, but I can tell the new rulers you're here if you want to talk to them. What's your name? I am Adolphe Sax. Oof. What? Well, you're Adolphe Sax as in the saxophone, right? Well, the very same. Finally, some recognition. Oui. Well, because your instruments are now pretty associated with that old king's army, and since we're not big fans of that old king's armies, every instrument with your name on it is banned from bands.
Aww.
Okay, so au revoir.
Adieu.
This is such a weird thing. He's given humanity a gift here. And they're making it very hard for him to give that gift. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, yeah, points for neither of you. It took a
I knew
literal
it.
revolution to get the soulful sound of that sweet, sweet saxophone
I knew
out
it.
of France.
I
The
knew
only
it was
good
the
news
French
for Sax
Revolution.
was that in 19th century France, you never had to wait too long for another revolution. By 1852, a mere 4 years later, Napoleon III, not to be confused with Bonaparte, overthrew the Second Republic and seized dictatorial powers. 2 days after taking power, one of his first acts as ruler, Napoleon III restored the saxophone to regiment ensembles. Well, unfortunately for our boy, the good news didn't last long. In 1853, and for the next several years, Sax's life was made incredibly difficult by a cancerous tumor growing on his lip. The tumor resisted treatment, growing to a, quote, grotesque size, making eating impossible and even threatening to suffocate him. Of course, the horrible irony is that if Adolphe couldn't breathe, he certainly couldn't make his funky horn sing. By 1858, he basically had two options. He could die, or he could try to survive surgery that would remove half of his jaw. Sachs, never one to conform to the options laid out before him, turned to a doctor from India named Dr. Vries, who gave Sachs an Ayurvedic treatment, basically secret herbal extractions from India. 6 months later, the tumor started to shrink until it disappeared completely.
What?
Again, worth saying, Adolphe Sachs could not be killed.
Like an herbal remedy that works on a tumor?
I guess.
Wait, what the fuck?
What?
Yeah. Weird, huh?
Do they use whatever that guy gave him now today?
I don't know. Maybe it was a very specific kind of tumor.
I've never heard of anything like that. That's like the craziest thing in this whole story.
It's a good story, right?
It is a good
That's-
story. I'm just curious. I think they should implement that more then.
Well, that brings us to 1894, when Adolphe Sachs caught lousy old pneumonia and died
What?
at the age of 79. At the time, he was working as a stage manager at the Paris
died
Opera
to
House
pneumonia?
and living off a small pension that he'd successfully begged from the French government, hoping it would give him, quote, a few hours of peace in a life consumed by trouble. And, as we heard, he wasn't lying. Because of how he'd been hounded by his adversaries, he'd been forced to declare bankruptcy 3 times in his life and sold off all his rare instruments and handmade tools.
Wow.
What a sad instrument.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad and sexy at the same time.
You're a band guy. Was there any kind of like stereotype to a saxophone player?
I always regretted not playing the sax
Oh.
because it's so cool.
It's definitely cooler than the clarinet, I'll say that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hands down. Lizzie's shaking her head, but
Sorry, it is.
I think
it
that's
is.
also why she doesn't understand that it's cooler.
I also wish I played trumpet because people say that trumpet.
Yeah, one of the
players,
coolest instruments
yeah.
there ever was.
They say that they make the best kissers.
That's true.
That sounds like something people would say in like band, like in
Yeah.
middle school.
When a trumpeter kisses you, it's like,
Yeah, I've seen like solos of Dizzy Gillespie just going crazy and just like. Can you imagine your first date? Like, oh, great night.
well, at the time of his death, Sachs had 35 patents to his name and many ideas for other spectacular fantasies. His unproduced inventions include the Sax Thunder, which was a giant organ powered by a steam engine that was to be about 167 feet tall.
What?
And of course, there was the Saxo Cannon. What was the Saxo Cannon? Describe it for me, and heck, why not even do a little drawing?
Ooh, that.
Yeah, I'm not the best artist, so I apologize.
That's an interesting idea.
How are we feeling?
Not great.
Okay, hands down.
You know,
I'd feel like
but it
a
kinda
rocket
looks like
launcher?
a
Well, I was
saxophone,
thinking, like-
you can see at the top there, he's playing little buttons.
Yeah. And Steven, what do you got?
Mine's basically a saxophone with a big hole. But notice that the saxophone players are always like this. They're always leaning.
Uh-huh.
So I thought he'd be leaning, but it's a saxophone that catches cannonballs? I don't know.
Interesting.
Oh, it's an acceptor too.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, you know, you're both sort of in the ballpark, so
I assumed it was like a little more
I know
lower.
it means nothing, but it should mean something to you.
That's great. I mean, it's a good drawing.
I'll take it.
Now, unlike his other inventions meant for military bands, the Saxo Cannon was to be an actual weapon. It was to be a mortar bullet 11 yards wide, weighing 550
Wow.
tons. And Sachs believed it would be powerful enough to take out an entire city.
Dude, so it's kind of like what I was saying before. When you make a flute into a weapon.
Exactly.
God.
Fuck yeah, this guy was a genius. Not because he said something that was similar to me. Or Maybe,
Oh.
maybe it is because that's what.
I've heard of Oppenheimer, but Beboppenheimer?
That's stupid, but it's good.
Thank you. For the next century after Adolphe's death, the saxophone barely survived. People thought it sounded too carnal, too voluptuous, which people often say about me as well. The friggin' Pope hated the dang thing, and few music schools were willing to teach it. Eventually, the instrument came to the Americas as part of the French military band led by Napoleon III in the 1860s. But it wasn't until the jazz world embraced the funny tutor that the saxophone assured its place not just in music history, but also in music future. Jazz, baby.
I wonder what the popularity of the saxophone was before jazz. Like, it probably was seen as like a very novel idea to implement this instrument that everyone hates.
Though he never had much money, Sachs knew he was leaving behind quite the legacy. As he boasted, quote, "Before me, I am proud to say, the musical instrument industry was nothing, or next to nothing, in France. I created this industry. I carried it to an unrivaled height. I developed the legions of workers and musicians, and it is above all my counterfeiters who have profited from my work. Whew. Hard to believe this guy stirred up so many enemies, right?
Starting to get why he was a little unpopular. I had not heard him speak until then, but
Yeah,
I was like, why does everyone giving this guy shit? And he's like, the music industry is me. I'm not a businessman. I am the business man.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
Well, that concludes our history lesson. Now, in the past, we relied on a complicated algorithm to determine the history master. But I've since taken a large mallet to that stupid algorithm machine and left it to sit unsupervised in the Watcher Entertainment dumpster next to that equally stupid hologram box from last season.
Dude.
Yeah.
I wish I could
Nice.
have been there to fucking take a huge dump on that algorithm machine.
Yeah, I beat the living shit out of it. So I'm gonna head backstage and try to do math on my own.
You
In the
got this,
meantime,
Professor.
Enjoy this special performance from one of Adolph Sax's scrapped instrument prototypes. I'll see you.
Yay!
I forgot there were songs on the show.
This is the
I
best.
forgot about the songs too.
The mother of invention is both passion and intention, and the plight can be rewarding, but it also can drag ass. And every grand creation's just the final iteration in a cavalcade of pitiful rough drafts. And so it's me, failed instrument prototype 73, and I sound like, and it sounds like the most god-awful record that you'll ever hear. You wish a pack of hungry sewer rats would gnaw your ears. The drum goes
I like this song.
and a horn will toot a toot, but I sound like a cow with hemorrhoids attempting to prove. Oh baby, I sound bad. Yeah, I do. Oh. Well, I still recall the day when Adolf took me out to play and put his sweet wet Belgian lips upon my shiny little mouth. And with his smooches motor floating up against my special opening, what a dreadful horrid screeching I let out. And oh, the crowd, when they heard my wretched sound, how they take it? Oh, well, a fancy lady puked into her daughter's lap. A priest screamed fucking crashed and tossed his Bible in the trash. The dogs all howled and the mice went squeak. Half the mezzanine ran out and laid down in the street. Oh, baby, I sound bad. How about that? Oh. You know, after my first performance, I was attacked by an angry mob who stuffed me in a sack with some stones and tossed me in the river. But I soon beckoned to some passers-by, like when those kids found Jumanji. And so now I'm back to let the world hear my fucking terrible noise. Check it out, I'm horrible. Wait. That's awful. I gotta do more fucking cardio or something. Oh, God. Oh, well, I clearly could have used some extra bells on the side. Well, too bad. I guess I'll just have to go eat shit and die. A rat-a-tat and a guitar shreds. But the noise that I emit will have you begging for death. Oh, baby. Oh, I sound bad. Yeah, I do.
Yay!
I enjoy these now.
Oh?
Whoa! Bad instrument, but an absolutely stunning song. Now, you guys are never gonna believe this, but I am bad at math.
Oh.
Okay.
And frankly, I simply cannot bear the weight of choosing the winner. On one hand, Ryan, you're my best friend. And you saved the
Aw.
lives of me and my wonderful parents. On the other hand, Steven, you're our guest, and you're a sweet little angel.
Thank you.
But this is a quiz show. There has to be a winner, or people are gonna whine about it in the comments and maybe even dox me. What is this show anymore? I don't even understand what.
Hey, son, it's all right. You're doing a great
His
job.
parents are here.
Thanks, guys. How's it going adjusting to life millions of years in the future?
Pretty tight.
Yeah, we learned about all the modern marvels like dogs, math, fax machines.
And I'm still getting the hang of the whole capitalism invention.
Oh, are you thinking about getting a job?
We've been faxing his resume to every number we could come up with.
What have you even done in this modern era worth putting on a resume?
Let's see. Says here I learned the alphabet and I ate 3 dogs.
Honey,
Good for
4
you.
dogs.
It's a
Four.
crazy pitch. But since we're unemployed and got nothing better to do, how about we pick the winner?
Sure. Steven, Ryan, are you guys down with that?
No, that sounds weird.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Hey. Okay, so I think the beefy boy.
I got issues with beefy boy though. I always have. Why? I don't want to deal. I don't want to deal with this and get him all self-conscious about his flesh. You understand?
He loves that man. He loves the big boy.
name?
Because he's so deep. After dutiful consideration, a decision.
Are they gonna choose Ryan?
We hereby award the coveted cap entitled of History Lizard to Stephen Lim. But
Steven.
also hereby award yet another coveted cap to our son's friend and our savior, Beef Boy.
Wait, so we
Okay.
both get a cap?
I'll
Wow,
take
this
it.
has never happened.
Oh man, this is like
Hey.
a participation trophy.
Yeah,
Oh.
high five. Yeah.
Both teams played hard bullshit.
Okay, guys, come on up here and get your hat, Steven.
All
Why don't you
right,
come up
Let's
here?
go.
There you
That's a
go.
real hat. Do I get to keep this?
Yeah, you do.
I think you misspelled it here.
Okay, guys, for the record, it's History Wizard.
Yeah, History Lizard.
Okay, well,
It says lizard on there.
that's close enough, I guess. Look at these guys with their coveted
History
caps.
Lizard.
It's a little weird that his says history wizard and mine just says beef, but you know,
Beef.
we'll
Good on you.
look past that.
Now that's friendship right there. Hey, well, Stephen Lim, thank you for being here. Ryan, thank you for being a friend. And to all you folks at home, thanks for watching Puppet History, where the details are always a little fuzzy. Vaya con Dios!
Well, I still recall the day when Adolf took me out to play.